Hello everyone, here's Airphone with something a little different. It is Thanksgiving weekend, so I thought, what could Link be more thankful for than stumbling across a cache of fairies? They give you quick healing. If you have an empty bottle and a blood catching net, you can catch one for later. It gives you some emergency health revival if needed. But today we're going to be focusing on the ones found in dungeons. There are a surprising number of dungeons in the game that have fairies inside. And we will start our dungeon tour here in Eastern Palace in the central room with the bow chest. This is possibly easy enough to overlook, but there's no railing on top of these pots. If you jump into one of them, you get into this little room with two fairies. It's probably pretty well known, but there it is, the teleporters take you back out. There's 3 fairies on the way to the boss. As it turns out, all of the Light World dungeons have fairies hidden somewhere inside, some of them better hidden than others. This one is fairly easy to overlook in the Desert Palace, even though it is on the map. You just go in the left-hand entrance, or go through here on your way out towards the boss, push the third block from the left, and it opens up into that room with some fairies in it. The fairy room in the Tower of Hera is particularly easy to miss if you don't know about it. However, it is particularly well known in randomizer community because it is used in a glitch that lets you skip to the top of the tower. Basically, you get onto the 5th floor there, jump in the top left hole with the railing around it, you fall through a series of pots, and eventually end up in this secret basement room with 2 fairies, and a teleporter that takes you back to the top of the tower. Now, this particular fairy room is well known in the randomizer community because it's involved in a glitch called Parapod, which I'm trying to do here, that basically lets you clip into the pot on the entry floor here, fall straight into the fairy room, and warp up the tower without going through the middle of the tower, which also lets you skip the big key if there's nothing of importance in the big chest. You might think of that as simply early game generosity that would going up in the Light World. However, there are a number of Dark World dungeons that have fairy rooms in them as well. For instance, here in the Palace of Darkness, you bomb to the right of, I believe that's the map chest, and here you have a room with 3 fairies just floating around. Now, this is not a fairy, but it does deserve honorable mention, as Skullwoods is the first dungeon that expects you to use magic extensively. If you bomb through to the right of the room with the big key, there is a pot with a full magic refill underneath it. It's a few more dungeons before we see a proper fairy room, but it is an ice dungeon, which is easily the longest and most confusing dungeon to this point, where we have more pots we can fall into just before the boss room. And once again, down below these pots is a hidden room with several fairies in it, and a teleporter that takes us just about outside, just before the boss itself. Perhaps unexpectedly, there is even a fairy room early here in Turtle Rock. If you come into this northeastern doorway from the central hub, there is a room where it has these tiles that launch themselves at you. You can either dodge them the way you're supposed to, or if you put on the magical cape and grab the wall, for whatever reason, the game forgets to take magic while you're grabbing a wall and using the cape, but you're still invincible, so yeah. Once the tiles are done throwing themselves at you, the door opens, and here there is not only a fairy, but also a pot with a full magic refill. Much deeper in the dungeon, we have a bit of honorable mention. If you come over to the right side here, there's another full magic against the wall, along with 2 hearts, which is a bit less than a fairy, but it's still something. And one more honorable mention for Turtle Rock. Deep in the dungeon on what's called Laser Bridge, if you bomb through this wall at the end, not only do you get a restart point by exiting the dungeon in case you get killed on the boss, also, if you mirror from here, it takes you to a Light World cave, where if you come inside and head down these stairs, you find 2 more fairies. It's a bit out of the way if you're the racing type, but if you're just playing casually, it's a quick spot to refill. There are even a pair of fairy rooms in Ganon's Tower itself. The first one, after you beat Armos on ice in the basement, there's this fairly obvious cracked wall to the north, You come through here, you have 4 fairies hovering over a pit. You can snag them with your boomerang or hit shot, or they'll eventually fly up to the top where you can collect them directly, or use the bug catching net if you prefer that. A bit further into the tower, before what's popularly known as the Gauntlet, is this interesting cracked wall. You can easily enough toss a bomb over to there, as the game keeps reminding you every time you find bombs in a chest, but how do you get to it? There's no invisible platform there, there's nothing to hookshot to. This is the only place I know of where the game's design acknowledges there are other ways to get across pits. Probably what you're intended to do is to dash against these blocks and use the recoil from running into them to bounce across. Now, if you're right up against them, Link will grab onto them, so you can either use a sword charge to back up a bit, or you can use something called a dash turn. When you're next to something, you face to the side. Then when you start dashing, turn in the middle of charging that up, and you can change direction. So this gives you your bomb back, this gives you some fairies, and it even gives you a magic refill. The other pots have nothing underneath them. And you can hookshot back across, or if you're good at bashing against the wall, you can just make it if you hold up after you land. There is another way across here, it's something called a bomb jump. Basically, the recoil from a bomb explosion will push you around, and while you're being pushed around, the game does not check whether you're over a pit. So if you do it properly, you can propel yourself over pitfalls, and this is one of those places. You just need to get right up to the edge, put a bomb in front of you, and you get knocked across. You even have a pretty large amount of tolerance here, so it's easier than a lot of other bomb jumps. And one more bit of honorable mention, when you're getting ready to fight Ganon himself, if you need a little extra health, just run into this tree here, and a fairy will pop out. And of course, don't forget about your magic powder. It can turn anti-fairies into regular fairies, which not only gives you fairies, it also gets the anti-fairies out of the way, so it's a double benefit. Perhaps not as well known is that magic powder will also turn these bunny beams into fairies as long as they haven't started moving yet. A particularly curious thing about that is that it works even on bunny beams that are still under pots. So if you remember where those are, you can get easy fairies out of it. And this has been ALttP with a quick guide to finding fairies in dungeons in its Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Hope you enjoyed it!